Ni hao. Wajao Stephanie. Okay, so here's the deal. I had a video a while back on what's the difference between Wisha Stephanie and Wajao Stephanie. And yeah, I didn't get a lot of answers. I got some answers. I want to be fair, I did get some answers. But it was left to there's no big difference. However, and that could very well be true. But in reviewing an early chapter of HSK1 materials, which I'm in constant review mode, I did notice that they introduced, when people introduce themselves, they say Wujao. So I'm going to switch to that permanently instead of going back and forth. Sometimes it's not about knowing why, it's just about patterns. Not really the point of the video, but there's that. I want to record when I had that moment of it's time. I think like about this time last year is when I did a video with this guy on top of me. I feel like that today. I keep wanting to change my plan. I made, if you follow my Instagram, you've seen this like 5-month plan where I took the chapters from HSK3, HSK2, and HSK1 and I mapped them out, thank God not week by week, but I mapped them out but month by month so I could take the test on December 2nd. And I was really comfortable with that, and I started carrying around this week's chapters. I'm actually doing really well with the new vocabulary. I'm using that new pre-step with the Lightner box, but I'll talk about that later. So I'm doing really well with the new vocabulary for chapters 1 and 2. I feel really ahead of the game on that. The listening isn't as hard as I imagined, but it's still hard. The lack of pinyin's not that bad, and there is some pinyin in the course book, but not so much in the workbook itself with the exercises. It's not that bad. I noticed that I either really recognize a word, I know what a word means, or I recognize it and can't remember, that's the most frustrating one, or I simply have never seen it before, which means it's in one of the newer words. Hold on, I gotta turn the AC on, it's freaking hot in here. Battery too low, shit, hold on. Clearly this is a professional organization, right? I don't think you can see the message for the battery like I can, and I'm really happy that that's true. And somehow it's still recording, despite the fact that I'm probably down to 2%. Okay, let's see if I can get rid of that. Yay! It's gone. Okay, so, but here's the main gist of this video. When I'm clearly forgetting. Sorry, the cord is throwing off the weight of all of this. This is pretty much how my language planning brain is right now. Exactly what's happening with my phone is what's happening with my brain. This is perfectly representative of everything. Okay, so I made this intricate plan, and I even split up the chapters, because you know I tear the chapters out. I'm that blasphemous book person that loves books so much that I understand that they would like to not break my shoulders, so they allow me to tear them up and carry them around in bits. And so I did that with the chapters, and I broke them down by month. I've got them sitting on a shelf by month, which ones I'm going to go over. And I was organized. I was set. My plan for the rest of the year was ready. And in the middle of the day today, I had a flash. I forgot to plan the other stuff I want to do this summer. Remember that life stuff outside of language learning? I didn't. So I still have this language learning app. Oh gosh, I just cannot get comfortable today. So I still have this language learning app that I want to make. Okay. And I have been, as you can imagine, for someone who's been editing, obviously not YouTube videos, but editing podcasts and trying to social media myself out so that people know that my different projects exist. I've been spending a little more time on my computer than I'm comfortable with, and it's not just a weight issue, because there's so many more factors with lack of movement, health-wise, mental-wise, etc. Despite the fact that I am a big person, I really like movement, and I haven't been moving. I haven't even joined a gym, and I moved into this neighborhood in January. That's freaking sad. It's June. So I joined a gym yesterday, and I went for a pitiful amount of 10 minutes, but the band-aid has been ripped off. I am back into movement's sake. I have been doing my stretches for physical therapy, and I've been walking a lot more, so I'm not totally lazy, but I can do more movement now, and I haven't been, and that's really frustrating because I was waiting for so long for the pain to go down so I could do more movement, and I can, but I got distracted by all of the things that I do sitting down because I was in such pain for so long that I started to work on a bunch of things where I didn't move because moving hurt. Moving doesn't hurt as much anymore. Moving, in fact, actually makes me feel better at this point, which is a lovely place to be. But after so long, I forgot that that's possible. So, I have to reconfigure my plan tomorrow. I have to move things around because the mobile app, which unfortunately is sitting down, and the movement, which is not sitting down, need to be stars for the summer. They need to be prevalent. Not for the summer because it's a summer activity, but summer because it's the end of June and this is the season. And I tend to think in like seasonal bits. I tend to think in like 2 and 3 month goals. So I need to rethink some things. So what I'm thinking is, since learning vocabulary seems to help me the most, I think what I'm going to do is, I still study 1 to 2 hours a day, but I think I'm going to do the review from HSK2 and HSK1 and those chapters, the grammar bits that I had ignored, and what was the other thing? And do the listening, so I'm still listening to, oh, no, not true. I really should have written this down. I'm going to do the grammar bits that I ignored. Stop. That's all I'm doing from HSK2 and HSK1. I'm going to grab those. I'm going to turn them into flashcards. Probably with sentences, examples on them, because that's how my brain processes grammar the best. Then, for the HSK3, I'm not going to do the reading or writing exercises. I'm probably not even going to do the listening exercises while I do the listening. Let me explain. I printed out the transcripts for HSK1 and HSK2, and I feel like I haven't used them to their full capacity. I underline words. I look at them as I'm listening to them, but I really feel like I could get more out of it if I spend more time with each listening. Now, as is, I had planned 1 chapter a week for 20 weeks, and that feels very luxurious. Even just having 3 days with it so far, I feel like it's a lot more time, and it's a lot more breathable, and it's really great. But I am rushing through some of the exercises before knowing the vocabulary, so that feels silly. So I feel like if I work on the vocabulary ahead of time, and the listening, which is still reading the vocabulary, so that helps with my reading practice, and that'll really help with my listening, which will help with my speaking eventually. I am an eventually long haul kind of gal. I know my tones are awful now, but I think with enough listening, they could pull themselves up by the bootstraps. That's the goal. So what I'm going to do while I focus on movement and the mobile app over the next 2 months, starting in July, I should probably start next week, because I don't work a lot next week, actually. I gotta reconfigure this. Yeah, starting next week, apparently. I want to switch over to movement being huge. Like, I'm talking 2 hours a day at the gym. Not hardcore crazy hurt myself, but there's a pool. So get in that dang pool. I love being in water. I need to get in the pool. Once I'm in, I'm good. Then my elliptical, do some weights, have some fun, drink some water, be in a place where movement is happening. Love movement. Maybe even take some classes. I saw some dance classes. I need to take a look at that. I'm totally clumsy, but I need movement. For my mental state and my physical state, I need movement. So then the mobile app is when I get to sit down. And the thing is, with the listening practice that I'm talking about, I can do that while walking. I've been talking about shadowing in parks, like I heard in Babel No More. Not the best book ever. Still want to review it because there's questions it brought up that I want to bring up on this channel, but I haven't had time for that yet because that's another sitting activity, sitting and taking notes. Do you see what's happening? I've surrounded myself with a bunch of motionless activities. It's just like tons of them. And so I've got a long list of things I want to do sitting down, but I don't want to sit down right now. Not that I'm so restless that I can't, but like everything on my list is sitting down. And that's not healthy. And it's not what I want. And it's not what keeps my organization and my mental freshness going. So I need to get up, move around, and just accept the fact that I have more ideas than time right now, and that eventually I'll get to the other things. So one of my podcasts I have put on hiatus for July and August. Breaks my heart, but I have to do it because I have to get other things going. So, and then the other one I completely disbanded, but I think it's coming back in a different form at some point later. And then the one that goes with this podcast, this YouTube channel, I'm going to wait until I get a certain amount of interviews, and then it will be weekly for a season, and then it won't. And I think I'm going to do that instead. So the only thing I'm really allowing myself to do with podcasts over the next 2 months is to interview people to talk about language. Awesome. I do that in my spare time all the time, so that hardly feels like work. It's the editing part that's really the bitch. So I'll do that later. So, movement, 1 to 2 hours a day, but studying mostly within context, within the sentences, in listening, and hardcore vocabulary. I want to get a lot of the chapters that I do, 1 to 2 chapters, like 15 words a week, 15 to 30 words a week, up the Lightner box, up to like 3, 4, level 5, that kind of thing, before I touch the reading exercises in a couple of months. So this means that I'll probably be doubling up. If I do take the test in December, I'll be doubling up on exercises, like more than 1 chapter a week. But to be fair, I will have gone through the transcripts, so I will be familiar with the vocabulary. I will have done what I think is the harder part, which is listening. So I mean, it's not really not doing the original plan, it's just not doing exercises that I can't do right now anyway. So it's hardcore vocabulary, but it's also listening to focus on the sounds, to guess the structures that I'm going to be learning. I might peek at the grammar sections. If I start to guess at, oh, I think this means this, then maybe I'll peek in there. But I don't want to study the grammar for the first couple of months. This may very well push the test not to December. I haven't signed up yet. I'm not signing up until a couple months before. I've been very bad with time management, and HSK3 is probably the last one I'll do with the test. So I really want to absorb the stuff that's in there, and I want to use this external deadline as much as I can to motivate me. So if it needs to get pushed to 2019, I will cry a little tear for my first yearly language learning plan not going through and move on. What else am I going to do? I want to learn. And to learn, I have to slow down a little bit, and I have to focus on the things that I wrote in my oh shit list for the HSK2. And definitely the one thing I wrote on that oh shit I went too fast list is, well, I went too fast. I didn't spend enough time on the transcripts because I feel like there's a lot in there that I could learn from. And I wanted to put, there's something else. Oh, I wanted to put parts of speech on my note cards, or my flashcards, doing that now, no problem. And I wanted to do the vocabulary way before the chapters, like 1 or 2 weeks before the chapter exercises, and I'm going to do that now. So a lot of the things on my oh shit list I planned into the HSK3 plan, except for the dang listening. I wanted to spend more time with the transcripts. I didn't plan that in, and I think that's a big oversight, and I'm correcting it now, before the first week is over. So, flexible. I can be flexible. Especially if I do all the movement I want to do over the next 2 months. Life is hard. Life is so freaking hard. Oh yeah, and I'm working also, but whatever, that's easy. Yeah, okay. And there's summer heat that slows me down to like nothing. It's gonna be like 40 degrees for the next 40 degrees Celsius. For the next what 4 or 5 months in Shanghai. Oh yeah, gotta love it. Gotta love it. It's a lot of time inside, is what it is. Anyway, so this is clearly not a 5-minute June daily video, and I clearly missed a few days in there, but since I had days where I had like 4 videos in a row, I think I'm doing okay. I think I'm doing okay. How often do you change your language learning plan? Do you have a language learning plan? How do you plan your language learning? I don't know. Do you plan it by book chapters? Do you plan it by number of words? Do you plan it by time spent? This all very oddly fits into the tracking app that I'm thinking of making. The motivation / tracking app. It's something that clearly, it's kind of that doctor heal yourself kind of thing, because I struggle with this, so I want to make an app that can help me and perhaps help others see how much freaking work they put into their language learning. So even if they're in a tiny rut, they know that they're doing the work, and eventually things will come back and they will definitely progress again in a way that's visible. And until it's visible, at least there's numbers showing, fun graphs showing you that you've put in the damn work. I've cursed so much in this video. That's okay. Children will not watch these videos. Why would you watch a talking head as a child? You should be out playing. You should be out playing! I'm not talking to children. I don't know who I'm talking to. Friggin' delirious. Okay, look. I appreciate you. And, I swear, it's just existential language learning stress. I'm seriously not, I'm not tipsy, I'm not on anything, I'm so, trying to be flexible, and I'm a little confused by how quickly my brain changes what it thinks it wants to do over the next few months. I think next time I plan the next big goal session, I should give myself like 3-day gestation period before I say, this is my plan for the next few months. Because I think the fact that I wrote it down, I separated everything out, and I put it on a shelf, I think that made me think it was solidified, and it's not solidified. Because clearly what I thought of today were the things that were missing, that needed to be changed. And, it changing makes me feel like I'm being flaky, but I'm not being flaky. I'm actually being responsive to the things that I need. And so it's all my own blocks, just like everything else. It's just my own blocks. And I need to get past my blocks in order to get my... I really want to rhyme right now. To get my stocks, to get my locks, to get my... There's no language learning word to fit in there. If you know one, please leave it down below. But I really don't think there is. So I'm just gonna leave you with some green. If you listen to any of my, well, actually there's only one podcast live right now, but if you listen to it, you'll notice this is the same color as my logo. It's not intentional, but it is. But it's not. Lots of market research went into that logo. Definitely. Okay, I am officially delirious. Thank you, and more soon. Satyen.